Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of Against the Shadow. This one is entitled The Restless Dead. What happened last time, Rob?
Last time, the heralds that have been sent most recently from Rivendell have attempted to spread the message that the Dark Lord has returned to the northern realms of Middle-earth, Faroth's home. And in doing so, Faroth was confronted with the unnerving fact that not only was he going to have to speak in a king's moot, or a leadership moot, as the fabled Aragorn has fallen to the ringwraiths. Not only that, but he also had to confront the fact that he was seeing his father for the first time. The man who, when he was 10 years old, forced Faroth into a training simulation in the Barrows, surrounded by undead. Faroth, however, had a trick up his sleeve. In the moot, he decided he was going to put himself forward, as well as his father, in an attempt to unite the North with the rest of the forces of Middle-earth. In doing so, not seeing any way to win the King's Moot, because he just, let's face it, isn't that popular, decided that he could find this loophole, that not all the Dunedain were present. Some of them are still residing in Gundabad, the ancient home of the dwarves, now occupied by a host of orcs and dark creatures. So Faroth stated that he would travel to Gundabad with 50 men to liberate these Dunedain, so then the King's Moot can happen, buying the heralds some time to get a bit more under their belts in terms of respect from the Dunedain, so they may stand a chance of influencing the way their leadership goes in the future. And in the final moments of the last chapter, it was suggested by the ever-optimistic Beregond that perhaps further reinforcements could be found in Fornost, a long-ruined city of the north, that I'm sure we're going to be finding out about later on, where it is well known, or rather well rumored, that the dead reside. And that's all that I remember.
Excellent.
So you arrived barely conscious after having just nearly been killed by a ringwraith and a black Numenorean on Weathertop.
That's right. Faroth has received a scar across his face, and it is grisly, but he looks badass.
Yeah. Apart from that, I think that's pretty much everything.
That's the one, yeah.
All right, so we find you then in Anumanas, which is the city of the Dunedain, this sort of once great city, mostly now in ruins, some of it deliberate, some of it due to age and disrepair. And I guess you would be in your quarters. I'm not sure what you want to do and how you want to do it, so I'll throw it to you guys.
I think we were just coming down off the celebration, kind of you standing up to your father, and there was some celebration. So if it's still the evening, I'd probably get you a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, Faroth is, the last session ended with a particularly nice image, which was all of the Dunedain and all of the rest of the heralds kind of celebrating and congratulating Faroth on outsmarting, using the traditions of the Dunedain against them to help their people in a way. Everyone was celebrating apart from Faroth, as his father, seeing his son defying him, turned to Faroth and said, "You're no son of mine," and walked away. So Faroth has those words ringing in his ears, and as Cynric brings him this frothing mug of ale, he sort of moves a bit of foam around on the table absentmindedly with his finger as he dwells on those final words his father said to him.
Drink up, Faroth. Hopefully it won't be your last.
Faroth gives a weak smile that still stretches at the scar that hangs from one side of his face across his nose and down his lip. And you can see it stretched slightly as he pulls that smile, and he says, "Hopefully not. Hopefully not." Farrell is going to look over the table, and I'm hoping that Beregond is there, because Farrell says, "Beregond, perhaps you'd like to further explain your suggestion that we travel forth to Fornost. What have you heard about this place? Because I know what I've heard, put it that way."
Fornost Edain, the old capital of Arthedain and Arnor before it, was where the battle took place that destroyed the remnants of the kingdoms of Arnor and ended in the triumph of the Witch King of Angmar. Though his triumph was short-lived, for a year later, the armies of the Grey Havens and Gondor marched with the remnants of Arthedain and smashed the armies of the Witch Kings at Fornost and defeated them all. It is a place. It is a place overrun with the dead. It is more a kingdom of the dead than the living now. So I have heard. This is the first time I have come here. I know all this from books and from travelers' tales, not from travels before. But it is said down in Gondor there are paths of the dead, where the dead are said to be restless and can only find peace everlasting if they are released from their oaths centuries ago. The dead who have fallen in Fornost, the dead that were loyal to Arthedain and Arnor, also made oaths to defeat. There are some there who fled, I believe, in the battle before Fornost fell, and they too are restless and can find no peace. And maybe they too can find peace from their eternal torment if they are given the chance to complete their debt, their oaths to the line of Anarion that they gave those many centuries ago to defend the kingdoms of Arnor. You carry the blood that can maybe release them from that oath, but whether they are amenable to whether they are ready to discuss such things, to recognize you as an oath, as the carrier of that bloodline, whether there are indeed other dead there. There may be wights and wraiths. I do not know what is in there, but I have heard of this legion who deserted, who deserted and refused to answer the call when the Witch King's armies came in. But maybe if we call upon this army of the dead, it will give us extra powerful allies with which to attack Gundabad.
And Faroth, after hearing all this information, most of this correlates with what Faroth believes to be true about Fornost. From being raised, there's always been stories about the Dreadlord, the Witch King himself, and the power of the darkness that still resides in the heart of that fell place. And he nods and he looks around to his companions and he says, "Going to Fornost is a substantial risk, but we are not going to be able to help those within Gundabad without external support. My original plan was simply to somehow infiltrate the fortress, but if we do receive such help, then maybe we will be able to put up a fight. What do you all think? I do not wish to condemn us to early failure in our mission. And like I said before, I do not expect you to accompany me.
So Syrian's been sitting a bit further up, and he's got a small glass of red wine that he's been thoroughly enjoying. But he looks up after he's been half listening, half thinking about the general atmosphere around and the unsettlement of everybody. But he turns to you and says to Faroth, I'm in agreement with you. It's not simply failure, it is prioritizing. We are only so many. But I will come with you.
Farrell smiles, and then he looks to Na and he says, Na, this was the place, the genesis of your people, this Gundabad. Have you any views on this situation?
Well, my boy, I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting tired of all this sitting around and talking. It's about time we get something done.
Farrell smiles. It was almost like he knew that that was going to be the response from Na. And then he looks to Cynric.
Well, I can't say I've got much experience with dealing with the dead, but then before we set out on this journey, I didn't have much experience climbing mountains and fighting Numenorians either. I wonder, since you're all so familiar with this place, what if they say no? What can we do to fight them? Make sure we get out again. Is there any weapon born of man that can harm or be a bane to a spirit more than our own steel?
Farrell looks down to his belt. Lactuan, the Flame of the North, still hangs there. And while it has shown some properties of harming the agents of the Shadow, in particular, slicing at the Black Numenorian, he isn't entirely sure that how far that power extends and whether he should place such stock in such fantastical things. But they have faced the dead before, but potentially not in the numbers that Fornost possesses. And he has no answer for Cynric, and he says, I do not know what will happen if they say no. But I suppose I need to ask you, is it worth the risk? I'm willing to, because it is down to me that we're now in this situation. I completely understand that, and I own that. I don't want to make any decisions for the rest of you.
Well, I think it would take something like an Army of the Dead to siege Gundabad, from what I've heard. So, whether we die in Fornost or die in Gundabad makes little difference to the dead. I just wished we could go in more prepared. Not all of us have the Flames of the North hanging from our belt. Is there no artifact of your people? Is there no... Are they damaged by the light? Or a special concoction that could use to counter them? if you fought Barrow Whites as a kid, surely your proud nation has some weapons against this evil.
And Faroth delves into the deep recesses of his mind to see if there's anything else with potentially a check of some kind, please, Lloyd, to see if Faroth would know.
I guess shadow lore, maybe, to see if you know if you can like harm undead with anything, something like that.
Okay. Okay, that is that's not bad. That's an 18.
So you've dealt with like wights, but they are physical. They have like a corporeal form and they can be killed with swords. And you've dealt with ringwraiths. They seem to have been affected by your weapons as well, and the same goes for the Black Numenorian. So I think you would assume that like most of the dead that you've faced have been harmed by your weapons. In terms of like convincing these dead to join you, you think that there would be like you just don't have any information on that. You think back to maybe the scepter that was in Rivendell, and that would be a good symbol. But I don't know that you would have any more information on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only artifact of massive merit that they have on their person is the ring that Faroth entrusted to Baragon, but that was more for an alliance between men and elves, not men and other men swearing oaths to fallen kings and witch kings for that matter. So that probably won't be of much use. Faroth thinks if we are able to perhaps scout into Fornost, perhaps there might be information there that could aid us.
I only cautioned some planning. I thought while we were here in your fair capital, there might be something we could take with us to reinforce this claim. If you mention the scepter, that I feel that would work, but it is a long way back to Rivendell.
It is. Perhaps this blade may have some stock. I do not know. He looks down at the flame in the north once again.
It might. Very well might. Well, I guess we can but see.
And I believe we do as the dwarf says. And we get some work done.
First thing in the morning then? Ride with daybreak?
First thing in the morning.
Another... sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Farrell just simply says another night's rest in an actual bed won't kill us.
Far from it.
So you spend the rest of the evening then drinking and enjoying the comforts of a home, even a temporary one, sleeping in a nice warm bed and enjoying the warmth and the safety, knowing that tomorrow you're heading somewhere that is deeply unsafe. And so morning comes and you make tracks. You like get your provisions together and you saddle up on your horses and you head towards Fornost.
You notice that Baragon stayed out drinking a little later, and in the morning he's very tired and sleepy, and he has sort of and you also notice, but has a very happy, content look on his face. He's got scratch marks on his sort of knuckles and fingers, and dirt under his fingernails, and he's just as he sleepily rides out on the back of Aduil, his Rivendell steed. He's just polishing a little a little copper brooch or cloak pin, two sort of wreaths of plants intertwined that you haven't seen him with before.
You head eastwards from Anumanas. You'll be heading basically directly east into the North Downs. At the southernmost point here is Fornost. It'll take you about 2 days of travel to get there. But at this stage, you're fairly confident in traveling through lands like this. They're not particularly dangerous, not compared to the lands that you have been in, not until you get close to Fornost. So over those 2 days, is there anything that you would like to do, or like have a camp or something like that, or will we just leg it to Fornost?
I mean, do we need to rest to avoid exhaustion before arriving Fornost?
Yeah, I mean, it's like to me, this part of the country is fairly safe. This is
Okay.
like, so I'm not going to be hammering you with exhaustion and like fleeing from orcs all the time. For once, so basically, like the journey itself is not a danger to get there. But if you guys wanted to have like a campaign or something, that's up to you.
Yeah, I think one night, while stoking the embers of a fire, Faroth is sat up in the middle of the night, wide awake. I'm guessing this is his watch. And his mind goes back to a song that was sung about travelers that would go past the area of Fornost. The traveler's superstition being that singing a particular song would keep the spirits of the foul dead away from you. And he actually sings to himself, hitherto thee thy Lord, and will march from the west, over peaks and mountains high, till the red dawn brings our rest. And bring to me my true sword, and bring me my bow. Shattered shields and horns below we stand, we fight against the shadow. As he watches the embers flicker into the night sky.
Inspiration, Rob.
Cheers.
Done great. So the fire burns low, but you're comfortable. It's not lashing rain for a change. It's chill, maybe. You're quite far north, so you've got your cloaks and blankets wrapped around you, but it's quite a pleasant evening.
When I take over from the rest, the watch, just as he sort of settles down, I'll go, "You won't hear me singing either. I know what a good night's sleep will do."
I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Rohirrim. They tried to go to sleep quickly.
And then I'll sit out my watch, gazing perhaps more peacefully than we have done in a long time. It's been a while since the countryside hasn't decided to kill us.
So you rest until morning, and you begin to see Fornost itself in the approach. There's these large hills that kind of roll behind it, turning into, you wouldn't call them mountains, but certainly noticeable on the the horizon. And you can see that although it's been overcast on the way here, that there's like a sort of darkness up ahead, like a storm front maybe, sort of black clouds, and really thick sort of overcast. You cannot see the sun through the thick clouds. And you can see the city or the castle as you kind of like crest over a hill, you can see down below you the ruined city itself. And you can tell even from here that the once typically the men of Middle Earth tend to build in white stone, shining sort of white stone, and you can tell that this stone in Fornost here is not white anymore. A lot of it is like cracked and fallen apart, and there's like a sort of grayish dirt that lingers over the place as you approach the city.
Farrell's eyes dart to Cynric, being the other wanderer of the group. And he says, do you believe it wise if we perhaps circle Fornost before we enter to see if there would be a tactical advantage in surveying all elements of the city before we approach, or shall we just? And he just gives a jerk at his head towards the nearest entryway to the city.
The way that the city is laid out, is it sort of nestled in like craggy countryside? A bit like on the picture. Can we get some height on it and look down to see if there's any activity, if the dead roam?
So you are kind of currently, you've kind of like been going uphill for quite some time, and now you're coming down. It's quite hilly here, but you can see like that kind of in one of these sort of depressions of a valley, there is this city, like a castle, really more of a castle than a city, not nearly as big as the Numinas, and it's quite high. Like there are towers that strike up out of it. Although you can tell by looking that it's entirely ruined. Like there's no sign of life or anything around it. The vegetation outside seems to be like sort of yellowish and brownish, as opposed to the rich green of where you are right now. But you could make me a perception check if you wanted to see anything more specific.
Oh, it's rolling a dice. That hasn't happened in a few sessions. That's 19 or 22, depending if you think it's wilderness rather than anything else.
Okay. So you can look down and you can kind of like, so the city is like nestled against kind of like the hill that you're on. It's quite a large hill. I mean, it's just on the cusp of being a mountain. And like the back of the city kind of attaches to that hill. It's square. So there's a thick wall that runs around the outside and a smaller wall that runs around the inside where the keep is. But you can't see any sort of like, there's no fires lit. There's no noise coming from it at all. You can't see any movement at all within the city.
So there's no unearthly glows or anything. Does the whole place set us on like unease or?
Yeah, I mean, you get just like, you can tell that it's abandoned and no one's been here for some time just by looking at it. There is like this thick sort of storm that's above, like the clouds are dark above when they weren't dark, an hour ago. So it's almost like it's nighttime above Fornost, even though, it's early afternoon at this stage. You would probably feel a little bit of unease, certainly looking down at it, like a once grand monument to the power of men, now laid low and totally abandoned.
I do not see no earthly movements. Doesn't seem any brigands or orcs or the like might still rest here. I do feel there is something in the air, something unnatural. I'm sure you feel it too. But that was not to be unexpected. If you wish to parley with them, it would perhaps do better to march in there and not sneak around. If you're concerned for our survival, then of course the opposite is true.
Yes. Yes, you're right. And Faroth surveys the city from their vantage. And Lloyd, if you don't mind, I'm actually going to use another shadow law check. If you don't, maybe it's shadow, maybe it would just be history. Actually, I don't know. Whatever you think. For if there's a particular keep or building of note that could have been where the leadership of Fornost would have resided in, and maybe head there.
Sure.
His-
That would be a history check, certainly.
Okay, I don't think I have any.
Sorry.
So I'll tell you what. I mean, if this is, no, I'm going to do it. I don't care if it's meta. Farrell looks to the more knowledgeable members of the party, those who are versed in history, and he says, "Have you heard anything about a type of city like Fornos and where the leadership would have resided in ages past?"
Let me just consult my library of thoughts. That is a 22.
Yes, so you would know that there is two towers that rise up out of Fornos, and that would have been where the leadership would be. One is Barad Harn. I'll put these into the chat for you. The other is Barad Narthan.
Okay.
So these are these two towers that rise up, and that's where like the leadership would have lived. The king of Arnor at some stage would have like summered here or wintered here, depending on what the weather is like. But it would have been another residence for the king, basically, at some stage. And these two towers would have definitely been the most important part of the city.
Then we must be very cautious. The dead do not play by the rules of the living.
Well then, to the two towers.
So you're just going to move towards the gate house. There's a huge gatehouse at the center of the wall, basically. You can see from where you are that the gate, like the portcullis and stuff itself, is gone and broken. So you could easily just walk in.
Yeah. As casual as you like, Faroth is going to start walking towards the gate.
Seeing how this place is shrouded in shadow and how effective fire was against the ringways, perhaps we should bear torches?
Very smart proposal.
They might not have seen light so close for a long time.
Honest, I'd happily bear a torch, more for warming my own cold blood than any hopes of scaring the dead, nerving me. I wish I'd never proposed it.
Well, bear a torch for whatever reason you wish, Baragon. But I'm going to hold one too.
Or actually, I think my horse is scared, I say, tapping the horse's thing. It's to warm the spirits, not mine. I'm a man of Gondor.
Cynric gives you a look of a man who knows when a horse is scared and when he isn't, and when a man is scared and when he isn't. But it's just a look.
So you
Even
begin-
then Gondor gets scared.
You begin to ride down that hill towards the gatehouse. And you think in the glory days of this city, it would have been nigh unassailable, like huge, thick walls. You can see, like, as you approach it, there would have been several layers of like gate and portcullis and such. And above, murder holes and places to pour boiling oil and various different kill zones and stuff like that. As you walk through, this would have been a very difficult place to assault. But you can see as you approach that, like lying all around the entrance here, there are like bones skulls and bones lying deep in the grass that has kind of turned a sort of yellowish brown as opposed to a healthy green. And you can see that like inside the gatehouse itself that there are like splinters of wood and like remains. No, there wouldn't be wood. It's long ago. But you would see like remains of like shattered stone and like bits of steel that have rusted into almost nothing. Like portcullis is ripped apart. So something made its way through here without too much issue. Yeah, so you make your way through there. And you can see that as you enter the city itself, so once you go through the gatehouse, the darkness is much stronger. The storm seems really thick, and it's almost like it's nighttime up above. If you look up, you cannot see the light of the sun, and you cannot see stars. It's just like this thick, sort of purplish black cloud that roils overhead, and it paints the stone, once white, now sort of grey, in a sort of eerie purple as you make your way in.
Faroth sweeps his torch before his face in an almost an attempt to sort of swipe this ever encroaching darkness away, and then he reaches his hand back to his companions, motioning them to pause in their step. And Faroth goes down onto one knee and closes his eyes and presses his ear to the earth as he attempts to do Rumor of the Earth to see if he can sense anything through the ground, wondering if even the dead have footsteps that he might hear.
Okay.
So mechanically, Lloyd, I know I haven't done it in a little while. Rumor of the Earth. I was going to call it Rumor of the Dead then. That'd be convenient. Rumor of the Earth, I have to make a survival check, and if I exceed, let me see. Yeah, so if I exceed a survival of 15, I can hear something about a quarry or a target that we're hunting. So let me see if I can make that. Only Faroth hears nothing. It is as silent as the grave.
You, in fact, hear a terrible noise when you put your ear to the ground and you begin to listen. You hear this like, and then just like this scream of like pain, of anguish, of like being trapped and tortured. You hear it like really, really strongly as you put your ear to the ground, and you like reel back from it, and you'll fall like back onto your back, kind of like scrabbling away as you hear this like echoing through your mind for a moment. This awful scream.
Faroth is scrambling backwards, and he whirls about looking wild-eyed at his friends, and he says, did they react at all? Or
Yeah, I would have come towards you.
They didn't hear it. Okay. So Faroth is just looking terrified at you, but not realizing that you haven't heard it.
What is it?
That fell scream. Did you not hear?
He like cocks his head for a moment. No.
We heard nothing.
Again, Faroth sweeps that torch like across himself, looking out into the darkness wildly, and then looking back. It was as clear as anything, like it was right next to me.
Nothing next to you except us and this dark shroud above us.
I know what I heard.
Perhaps your line is calling to you.
Faroth mutters, they have a funny way of showing it. So if as they're obviously standing around looking perplexed, Faroth is he feels his face go a little bit red because he's kind of reacted in this alarmed manner, and the rest of his friends are, well, obviously still a little a little perplexed and a little confused by Varro's actions and a little bit unnerved by the surroundings. They didn't quite get the scare that he did. So a little embarrassed, he rounds his shoulders and he continues towards the two towers in that case.
I think Sin would give some like worried looks or concerned looks, perhaps towards Syrian and Berigond. No. And then maybe if he doesn't get any much reaction back, he sort of shrugs and canters gently after him.
Berigond's face is unusually white, and he is just scanning around.
Syrian's beard has grown. It's covering more of his face in order to hide the scars, and it's greyed considerably. And he started stroking it almost like a nervous habit. And if anyone's still around him before you canter off, then he's doing it quite a lot. But he doesn't say anything at all. He just simply does a little squeeze of his legs on his horse in order to catch up.
I would be looking out much more cautiously if I wasn't already before now, keeping an eye on Faroth at all times.
Nar is absently rubbing at his leg as he too is studying Faroth with a little bit of concern with his sudden outburst.
And Faroth pauses as it seems the god of this world has vanished, and Sauron has now been defeated, and everything is right in the world because Lloyd has dropped out. I didn't know whether we should carry on.
He just sent a
He's
message.
working on it, he just said. Yeah.
Got any more songs? Fill it up.
I can find some words. Yeah.
Berigond has a song usually.
Berigond's too scared for songs.
I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to use this opportunity to pop to the loo.
Yep. For an overlay, you need to use a PNG file, don't you, for transparencies? Does anyone know?
Right.
I think so, yes. They can be set to
PNG, yeah, you can make
Yep.
transparency, but JPEG, no.
Okay, that was where I was going wrong.
Hello, I'm back.
Hey, Rob's just
Hey.
popped away.
Okay, yeah, we might take a quick break now anyway. Make the most sense, and we'll kick off when we get back.
Mm-hmm.
My little brother turned off the router in the middle of the game, which was satisfying.
Oh boy.
Little brothers.
Yep, I'll be back in a sec.
Are we all back?
No, playing cat and mouse. So every time you go away, Lloyd arrives, and whenever Lloyd arrives, you go away.
Maybe the same person. I think, have we gone on a break?
Yeah. I've always thought
I'll be right
the dice cast is actually one schizophrenic speaking to himself.
Oh my goodness. You guys, if you think we're nuts on it now, just wait. We recorded an episode last night where we built a world from suggestions from our listeners. We were delayed in recording it, so we got round to it yesterday, and me and Lloyd just built the most batshit crazy setting I think I've ever. I don't want to spoil it because I want people to go listen to the podcast. The Dice Cast on Facebook. Check it out, guys who are watching. But yeah, it's good. I'm gonna be right back then if we're on a break.
Okay.
I've got an overlay. Excellent. Right, I'll be back in a minute.
We.
Right, I am back.
Nice and Rob are gone. For now. What was the last bit you heard, Lloyd?
God, I can't remember. I got so furious at the internet stopping that I kind of lost it. So I know the last thing that I remember was that he had like leapt back in terror and was like on the ground, and you had told him that there was nothing.
Okay. Barrygod did similar. He was like, there was nothing, like it was right next to me, and I said, "There's nothing next to you but us and the darkness above." And he kind of got embarrassed and cantered off relatively quickly. Cynric looked around at everyone with some concern, and they all kind of just like silently rubbed their various wounds that they've picked up across the journey. And then Cynric kind of was a bit on edge, staring into every dark corner as he followed Pharaoh.
Good.
Oh, I said something along the lines of perhaps it's your lineage talking to you or something, communicating with you. And he said they had a funny way of doing it.
Dan and his photographic memory.
Some of that I actually hadn't written down, and I'm now updating the notes. But
Oh my!
I just made up that sort of story of the deserters of the army of Arnor, but that's just sort of. I'm just thinking maybe the army of Rudawa, which by them and failed, or something like that. But those are things I was just improvising on the spot because I hadn't thought it out.
Definitely unsettled by this one.
Good.
I just wanted Cynric to at least talk about preparation because we often don't. And I wanted him to learn from his previous mistakes, like with the ring wraiths, how we kept missing, or the Black Numenorian, like we kept missing our chance to go in prepared. So I thought I'd at least offer it.
No, absolutely. I think I don't know. I mean, it seemed like a good idea at a time. I think that's what we'll say about Fornost.
Okay.
That's what the legends will say.
And it seemed like a good thing at the time to the heroes before they quickly ended their journey. If you go by there today, you might still hear them going, "Prepare more, more mistakes."
As a point, because I didn't actually consider this because we went on horseback, didn't we? And I know obviously Cynric is with Ciaro. Syrian was riding in on his steed, so
I think we all have elven
Farrell-
steeds.
Yeah, I will have them nearby, but I don't want to take them inside anywhere. Mine anyway. I know.
Yep.
I know Ciaro is much more adaptable, so.
True. If we do go in without horses, it's going to be much trickier getting out.
Yeah.
I imagine they might bolt, but they are elven. You'd have to see.
Mm. And it's not like they're going to miss Ciaro shining silver in the darkness.
No, well, if you're going in there and not in a way of wanting to fight them, then
No, it's smart.
The grander a picture you can paint, the better, perhaps.
I agree. No, it was a smart call. I don't think we could hide from them even if we tried, to be honest. Like that's the instinct I have.
Quite possibly. But if we'd moved more cautiously, perhaps you will have angered fewer of them at one time. I don't know.
Agreed.
We actually, I don't think we do so little planning. I think that's almost the first time we've actually looked before we leapt, to be honest.
Yeah, and even then, it was just like, shall we light some torches? Sure, and then we go in.
Yeah.
Good.
So you make it through the gate, and Farrath hears that scream. Now you read off a bit, Farrath, is that right?
So oh, sorry.
No, you go.
No, I thought you were saying it. So I ran off. Did you say?
No, you sort of made a move to leave because you got embarrassed. You said, and you started going. And
that's it. Yeah.
Cynric, to be quite concerned, would go after you reasonably quickly. But
yeah, we're all staying with you.
Gave a determined sort of rounding of the shoulders and pressed on into the darkness towards the two towers.
Okay. So then you kind of like you were in this big courtyard that like was behind the gatehouse, and you can see that there is like defensive places set up and stuff, but most of them have fallen apart into ruin. And as you kind of like make your way towards these towers, you wind your way through the streets of this this city, this keep. And you can see that there are houses, kind of like the manor houses you would see in Minas Tirith or like that you just came from in Numinas. Very similar in construction. Like these big stairs leading up to a big door, very tall sort of townhouses. And you would see those on either side of the street. Some of the doors have been smashed in, the windows broken. You would see that most of the wood and stuff around would have like rotted, and you can see a lot of like broken buildings and stuff lying around, or like roofs that have caved in, things like that. As you make your way towards these towers. You get the distinct impression that there are things moving around. You occasionally will hear like the wind blowing something. Maybe it's like a piece of paper that's like been left out in the street and it like blows by, or maybe it's some leaves that have fallen and they're like blown by the wind. But sometimes it definitely sounds like a sort of susurration, like a whisper, or like something like that. But whenever you look, there's nothing there.
Farrell's looking around. Despite the sinister nature of this city, it still once was a city. They're passing through streets that at one point would have been lively with the hustle and bustle of a market, perhaps. People had lives here, but no longer. It feels like it's walking through the streets of another kind of city before it is woken. But there's no one sleeping inside, only sleeping in death.
You round a corner into like a sort of plaza square, and there's like a statue. which is common for the city of men. They would have statue of heroes and stuff. And you can tell this once was here some sort of hero of men, but it has been defiled. You can see that there is like metal sort of like brutally attached to it in various places, giving it like this crown. And there's like a fire burning. Like they've hollowed out some of the statues. There's a fire burning, giving it a very ominous sort of look.
A fire burning? Who has lit the fire? Baragon approaches to see if the fire is, and with his torch he goes and prods one of the burning logs. It's real or some sort of illusion of the mind.
Sure. So as you approach, you can see that the statue is fairly large, and it was once made of white marble, like much of the statues would be. This like grand statue of a man in this like typical sort of archaic Arnorian armor. It's got like the two wings on the helmet. But as you approach, you can see that the like someone or something has like taken bits of iron and scrap metal and like turned those two into like a number of points reaching upwards into some sort of like metallic crown. And they've like defaced the face, so there's almost no face left, just like holes. And in the center, there is a fire burning. There's like wood there, and like bits of debris and whatnot. That are keeping this fire lit, and as the fire like lights up through the statue, it comes out through the eyes, very menacing. And you can see that like all around there are what are they called, gibbets with like skeletons in them. They're like impaled skeletons and like crucified skeletons. Now that you kind of like turn further into the plaza, you can see that there's like a monument to death here around the statue.
Cynric grits his teeth and puts one sort of hand up towards his face, bringing Ciara to a stop on the edge of this charnel. Pyre, well, not so much a pyre then. Charnel scene. The skeletons, are they old and fragmented and weathered, or are they?
Yes, definitely ancient. Many of the bones have like turned to dust.
And this statue has been given this crown, this roughshod crown, and its eyes are glowing with a fire set within it.
Yes.
What could make a fire in a place like this? Do the dead make fires?
Farrell's eyes scan to the torch that's still in his hand, and the idea that the dead would be afraid of fire is slowly slipping into doubt for him. And he looks at this macabre sight, and he looks to his friend, and he says, "This changes nothing. This changes nothing. We should proceed."
I wonder if the fires within that monument feed on something else than just wood.
Am I correct? I've climbed up and sort of prodded the wood to make sure it's real wood.
Yeah, if you so if you like approach the statue, you get this like overwhelming sense of wrongness. But if you like climb up, you can definitely see that it is like there's actual fuel for the fire. Partly wood, partly like peat and like all sorts of stuff. Anything that burns basically is here.
No,
But you get a strong sense of like discomfort and fear when you like touch the statue. You see this like momentary flash just of an eye.
looking at the statue, I'll turn to Syrian. Who is this? Who is this man in the statue? Do you recognize him? And I'll aid Syrian in a sort of history or lore check.
Okay. I take a good hard look at the facial features in particular, and also if there's detail on the robes or whatever it is he's wearing. I'll take a good look at those.
Yeah, the age, which will give you an idea of when he's from, according to the fashion of the armor and things.
So I got a 19.
So it's kind of hard to tell. Like the face has been partially defaced in some sort of like attempt as an insult. But looking at it and looking at the vestments and stuff like that, you get the impression that this is Arthur Dane, who was like one of the rulers of Arnor.
Fine ruler indeed.
While they're inspecting the statue, with a soft thump of my heavy-booted feet and a scrape as I kind of drag my leg, I move a little bit away from the others, and I want to attempt to use my vigilant senses to see if I can sense any nearby enemies or ambushes.
Okay.
Like I know it from my shadow sense, I get a general idea of that there's a lot going on, but I'm looking for anything like specific in our immediate area, which, if appropriate, allows me to make a perception check with advantage to sense, like I said, any nearby enemies or ambushes.
Yep, go for it.
$23.
Yeah, so as you kind of like step away from the, like everyone's attention is like fixed on this statue, and it reminds you of the tapestry and the way that it like draws all the attention to it. But as you kind of like step away from that and shake it away, you begin to look around and listen. You can hear sort of like skittering all over, and like you can see movement in some of the buildings nearby. You don't know what it is, but moving quickly and relatively quietly all around.
So, sensing that and getting this sudden foreboding that there's things moving around, possibly surrounding us, despite myself, I can't help to give a slight smile, as this is the first potential action that Nar has seen in some time. And he'll slowly unclasp his mattock as he gives a soft whistle, hoping to gain the attention of the others as he kind of turns slowly, keeping an eye out.
And Beragond was asking Syrian, and this Arthur Dane, did you know if he fell to darkness, to the shadow? And then interrupted by the whistle, he stops and looks around for what's happening.
Being the ruler of Arnor, he must have endured great times of light and shadow. By the looks of it, however, the defacing of his statue sounds like worse things happened more recently than better. I wonder who took this place last.
There's a growl that you hear, this sort of like deep rumbling when you say that.
Does it come from the ground or just around us?
All around you, it seems.
Faroth raises a hand as if to very, very carefully and calmly quiet the conversation. And he puts his hand down onto the hilt of his sword and slowly draws the Flame of the North half from its scabbard and looks into the darkness, having been alerted by Na also.
And Baragon will be sort of backing to form a sort of circle back to back with his comrades.
I will also do the same and draw Tart Lass.
There is a sort of thunk, and around the corner into this plaza comes a wolf, enormous, a warg, you think, probably like 6, maybe 7 feet tall at the shoulder, and it like thumps around this corner. You can see that it's like rotted, like you can see like its rib cage and such, and there's like this like little string of entrail that like hangs out behind, and it like thumps around the corner. Its face is like ruined, and you can see like bones and meat beneath the flesh, and it like and it like takes another step forward. You'll not have them.
Is it the Warg that's speaking?
Yep.
And Faroth turns to whisper to the person nearest him. I'll say it is Na. And he says, could this be the Warg King?
This work had entrails coming out of its ruined form,
Yes.
didn't it? Unless it rules from undeath. I don't think it is.
The dead serve the Witch King. They will not serve you. No, you will serve us.
And at that, Faroth draws his blade completely, pointing it towards this vile creature of undeath, and says, we serve none but the living.
We shall see. And it takes a step forward, and then like the skittering gets louder, and you can see like now in the windows that there are things moving, sort of shadowy forms, half-ruined people, the dead risen, and we roll initiative.
Oh my god!
Well, fuck it. Oh god. Okay. Right. Start.
That's a 13 for me.
12 for me. Oh my goodness. That is so cool.
Oh, I forgot Nar. Nar, you're top of that list.
Oh god. Restless troll.
Oh,
So it like begins to step forward. This warg, huge and hideous. But as it does so, there's like this like skittering all around. You can see like crawling out of the windows and like from out under the ground somewhere. There are just like this horde of these dead creatures. They almost look like goblins to you. Like they move in a very sort of quick and like there's a way that goblins move that just reminds you that something's unnatural about them, and they move like that, like skittering up and down walls and stuff like that. You can see they're in various states of death. Some of them are missing arms, or some of them missing heads. Some are like armed and armored, some are like just skeletons, but they move all the same way. And among them, bursting through one of the buildings, is the remains of a troll, which has like a kitchen table in its right hand, and like it's dragging it behind it as a weapon. And so you see this burst into action all around you, and Nar, you're the first one to respond.
So what is the closest thing, the warg?
The dead. So there'd be lots of dead nearby to you. You're closer to the troll than to the warg. The warg's quite far away.
Okay. So, but there's other like miscellaneous dead that are closer.
Yep.
How far is the troll from where I'm at?
He would be 40 feet from where you are.
Okay, yeah, that would normally be in range, but at the moment that would take a dash to get to him. So, yeah, basically, as this goes off, I will have to my Matic. I'll use my bonus action to go into rage, and then just move to the closest undead and start hammering away.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to start out. The first one is a natural 20. The second one is a 13.
Okay, 13 hits as well.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So that's double dice, right, for the crit. Coming out swinging for the fences. Now I just got to wait for everything to come up to me and we'll be in business. You don't like that. So that's 10, 14, 16, 424 for the first hit.
So you absolutely, one of these like dead things rushes up to you, and like a couple will do, and you take this huge swing and you smash through the head of one and like down into the chest cavity of the one behind it, killing two of them in one blow.
Oh, very nice. So giving a roar of satisfaction as the enemy is crushed beneath my strike. My second attack does 14 damage.
Yeah, you crush another one with the Matic, just the pommel end smashes into the head of one of them and it falls limp.
Yeah, so then my gaze shoots to the troll as one arm out to my side, kind of balance myself as I lift the Matic over my head and roar out in a challenge to the troll. Slapping a fist to my chest, trying to egg it on.
So you think usually that would work, but this troll has like no fury in its eyes, no nothing. It's just seemingly animated. It's missing its bottom jaw, so the tongue just like lolls out down the body, and it doesn't seem to respond at all. Tomb, the Ward King, once the Ward King, takes a few steps forward, and he begins to break into a run, and he's going to attack one of you guys. I'm going to roll a dice to find out who. Cineric. So it rushes forward towards you and it like leaps up into the air, trying to like snatch you from the back of Ciaru. But it absolutely misses. It tries to, but you're too quick, and Ciara is too quick, and you move out to the side, and the jaws like just like snap, but not on top of you. It lands with like a skid, and then rushes to try and bite at. Okay, Syrian. With a 24 to hit. Good lord. Which I think might just do it. It's going to be. Okay, it's going to be 11 damage from the bite, and I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Really? Okay. Oh. That's a 4.
Okay, so it rushes up and it bites into you, and it like puts its paws on your shoulders and smashes you onto the ground. And as you're on the ground, it like takes its claw and just rakes it down your body. See if it can hit you with it. Yeah. So with another 24, the claw like reaches like down from the chest and just like rips into your stomach, and there's like this agonizing tear, and extreme pain as it begins to tear into you. You'll be taking 19 slashing damage from that.
I'm down.
It like pulls that claw out, and like with its like snake-like tongue licks some of the gore from its claw and like turns towards the rest of you. The restless troll, unseeing of the taunt, just begins walking forward. So it's just going to attack literally who's closest, which I think is Nar. So it's going to try and smash you with the table. So it's got a 20 and a 21 to hit.
Yep, I'm at 20.
Okay. So then true. Okay. 19 bludgeoning from the table. It like smashes into you and smashes over your armor and breaks, and some of the splinters get caught in you. And it just like smashes it over the top of you, and it like looks stupidly at the hand, like it doesn't know what's happened to its weapon. But in the meantime, it like reaches down and grabs one of the dead and uses that as a club instead. Then Cineric.
So Syrian, you're down after taking like 30 damage. Is that correct?
No, I've got 51 hit points, and there was like a barrage. So the first one I think was 19, then there was 24, then there was
24 was the attack roll.
24 to
I think.
hit.
Attack roll, yeah,
I
not
think you only did
damage.
30 damage in total.
okay. I'm sure I didn't count that though. But there was the first damage then after the strength saves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
the
did
bit
2
you-
attacks on you, but it hit twice.
Oh, it hit twice. Right,
Yeah,
my
did
bad.
about 30 damage.
Okay, never mind. I'm still fine. No, I thought the second attack did damage.
I was like, oh boy, I've really badly balanced this encounter. But we'll see.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
hitting for like 24 rather than doing 24.
Okay.
So then instead of like licking the gore or whatever, it would have like knocked you down to the ground and like scratched into you, and it would still be on top of you, like one of the paws on your shoulder, and it would be like snarling in your face, and you would see like this like hideous drool like drip down onto you, and you could see maggots crawling inside the mouth. So that is its turn. Then it's Cineric's turn.
Yeah, good. Now I'm in a much better position. Whew. The wolf, as it like leapt past me as we were like probably going at a breakneck pace.
Yeah, it tried to like get you as you were charging it, and it was charging you, but it missed you, and so it leapt on Syrian instead.
So I probably watch what happens and how it just pounces on Syrian and puts him down, and I sort of rear around and go after it. Does it? You say it has like entrails falling out of it. Is there spaces in its flanks for me to put a torch, or do I need to put it in its mouth?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. There is like there's some of the rib cages are showing, and you think that you could like shove a torch under the ribs.
So yeah, I whistle to Ciara, and we loop round, possibly passing some of the dead on the way, and chase after this Warg King. And because I'm currently holding a torch, I will plunge that into it before getting out my axe and attacking again. So, do you want me to just you sort out the damage, and I just roll to
Make
hit?
an attack roll with the torch.
15 on the dice. My strength would be 19. That would make it a 19, and then proficiency would make it like a 22 if I'm proficient in torch. But
Yeah, that's definitely a hit. So you like ram the torch in there, and it begins to like burn. Not with the sort of insane like gasoline style fire of the Nazgul, but definitely it is on fire, and you can hear it like.
Grinning to himself that the torch did actually work. I'm not sure if he noticed Farah's lack of confidence in his in his plan earlier, but he's certainly enjoying his own success. I will interact and pull my axe and then strike down. That's for a 19 as well.
Okay. Yep.
On the dice. And that is 14 damage after all the modifiers and things. Yeah, I probably plunge it into the side, sort of probably whirl round in the melee and strike it along a flank or against like a back leg or something. Trying to harass it off.
So if it begins to burn, it's going to take 7 fire damage a turn.
Sweet.
So that'll be on your turn every round. It'll take 7.
Try and remember that for you.
Yes, because I'll certainly forget. Okay, so you slash down with the axe, and it like bites into the flesh, and you can like pull it free with a crunch. Farath.
So, like lightning, this beast is upon them and is amidst their ranks, already knocking Syrian down and menacing at him. Farrell's immediate instinct would be to rush and help immediately. However, I'm going to be true to the fact that, Lloyd, you were saying that these restless dead are swarming us. So I'm going to spend 1 attack cutting my way through one to get to the Wild King, if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So he takes his first attack, which pretty sure is going to hit, which is a 21.
Yep.
And I took the liberty of pre-rolling the damage for the first one. That would be 15 points of damage.
Yep, you slash through a couple of the restless dead on your way there, just hacking left, right, and center.
Excellent. And then Farrell finds himself at the flank of this Warg King and brings the Flame of the North swinging up in an uppercut. But that, I'm pretty sure, is not going to hit because that is a 13.
No, not quite. It's actually odd. You like take the slash up towards like the gut of this creature, and as you like connect with like a ding, like as if you've hit metal, and you pull the sword back away. Beregond.
Beregond will also try to close in with the Warg King, instantly coming to the aid of his fallen companion Syrian. He'll go for the head and try to stab it through its maw, cutting at its tongue inside its head, and but with a 16 to hit.
Yep, that's a hit.
Okay, so the Fivadraville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Fivadraville lands, and my carefully placed blow would do, if it was a mortal creature, it would do a total of 28.
Nice one. So the dragon tooth sails and into the head of this wolf, up to the hilt, and you like pull it back out, and there's like this greenish gore, and the wolf kind of like sways for a second and lets out a howl, but it stands still.
The work of Sithanga of Rivendell costs, I say, at its face, trying to attract it towards me rather than Syrian that's on the floor.
All will serve. Syrian, you're next.
Yeah, so as this is happening and I can see Beregond leading him away slightly, I'm going to clamber up and I'm going to look at my beloved weapon Totlas and think to myself, I have a claw of my own. And I'm going to try and carve. If I'm sort of quite low down still, I would attempt to do it on the flank, somewhere near its back end. Try and maybe go for a weak spot, and I'm going to use my inspiration as well.
Nice.
Famous last words. Oh, that's a good job I did because I got a natural 1 on 1. So that is an unnatural 20.
Excellent. That's a hit.
Fantastic. Okay. Oh, and total of 13 slashing damage.
Nice one. So the spear sings and slashes into the wolf, cuts a big swath through its flesh towards the rear flank, slicing in, and the wolf lets out another. The dead begin to swarm closer now, all over you. I'll have everyone make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Uh-oh. That's a 12 for me.
That's a 17 for me.
A 23 for me.
Look at all you physical people and your fancy dex throws.
I got 6.
Okay, so then Syrian and Cineric, you'll both take 6 damage as like the dead like begin to claw at you, and like you can feel like arms and like teeth like pulling at you as some of them finally connect. They're all around you. Nar, back to you.
So still kind of reeling under the strike of the table that disintegrated over me. I kind of push off the restless dead that are scrambling around me and push forward towards the troll, taking a couple chopping swings. The first attack is 21, the second one is 16.
They both hit.
Okay. 18 for the first hit. You're not so good. Well, bad. 14 for the second.
Okay, so 2 big bolts in the mattock just into like the dead flesh of this troll, like hacking away at a knee, and you can see like that the troll begins to like buckle on that side, but it's still standing for now. The Warg King, seeing targets all around now, it takes a deep breath in and unleashes this like foul mist, this like stinking fog. I'll have you all make a con save, please.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. Recall the spider fight where we're getting a bunch of environmental attacks.
Oh, well, that was lucky. I got a 19.
So
Much better with con. That's a 16.
So I rolled a natural 1. However, a song stirs in the heart of Faroth. Shattered shields and horns blow. We stand, we fight against the shadow. As I use my inspiration, I get a modified 20.
Okay.
I'm also using that inspiration. I've got an inspiration of my own, really, but I'll use Faroth's song to inspire me to overcome my 5 and get. I still only get an 11 on my save.
Okay, so anyone who got below a 14, you are going to spend your next turn retching and vomiting and trying not to like lose the contents of your stomach, as like this stench is so powerful. It's like awful stink. You like are forced to like there's like pains in your stomach and in your throat, and you like are forced to fall to the ground. Useless for 1 turn. So that's the Warg King. The troll is going to rush. It's not going to rush. It's going to lumber over you, Nara. It's going to try and smash you with this dead person in its hand. So it's going to be 2 hits. That is 11 for the first and 16 for the second. So it's got this like skeleton, sort of this remnant of a person in its hand, just smashes it into you twice. Oh, I never did the lair. I'll do that now. So as you're kind of standing there, like the flames begin to grow inside the statue, and the eyes shine. Need everyone to make a wisdom save, please.
Who?
What?
Everyone.
We're just running through them now, aren't we? Okay, well, this is a good one.
Ugh.
A natural 20.
Nice.
I nat 20'd as well.
Excellent.
I 20'd as well.
Fantastic.
We got 17.
Okay. And a 10 from Nar. So then, both Faroth and Nar, you, as the firelight begins to grow, your eyes are like drawn towards it. As you look, the two kind of flaming eyes form into one, just like this. You get this vision of like of a great eye, lidless, wreathed in flame, and you are like shocked to see it. It like almost overcomes you, and you will have disadvantage on your next round of attacks. As you see the great eye. Cynric.
Fire damage, firstly. Is it the same, or do you roll it?
It's the same. I'll keep it at the same.
Okay,
7.
sweet. I don't know if it interacted with the with smog in any way, but I am going to coughing and spluttering, but not giving in, having passed the test. I did actually roll it, and she did pass, by the way, if you were at all interested. CRO is... oh, but I just throw my dice on the ground, so I will go find another one. And first is a 17. The next is a miss.
Okay.
Because it was a 2. I'm guessing that won't hit. So 1 hit as I ride around, striking into it. That is 13 damage this time.
That's...
Are the dead just all wrapped around as we are around this wolf?
Yeah, basically they're all over the place, and rather than controlling like 100 of them, I'm just going to do like a deck save thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so they're kind of everywhere, swarming all around. They're climbing up and down things. Some of them, climbing up over the troll and stuff. But you notice that there's like a wide berth in the statue. Nothing touches the statue.
Interesting.
Okay, so that was Cynric. Faroth.
Faroth is frozen to the spot, and if you were to look at him, it's almost like a trick of the light from the fire, but it's like there's a single flaming eye reflected in each of his pupils, and it's almost like he hears, "I see you," but he wrenches his gaze away from the fire, but he is completely shocked by this vision that he's seen, and he swings wildly back at this dreadful warg in an attempt to hit him. I'm rolling at disadvantage. I can safely say that my first attack swings, maybe even hits, but it does no damage whatsoever. The strike is just is unbalanced and uncoordinated. I'll go for the second attack. Okay, I rolled 16 on both dice, so that is 22 to hit.
Certainly.
Sorry, 20 to hit the next one. Yeah. Perfect. So that is 1 hit. That is +2 for the agent of shadow. So that is 18 points of damage as Faroth manages to strike back at this wolf with his second attack, bringing the Flame of the North across its flank.
Very nice. And again, as you like slash in, you slash into the flesh this time, but as you get deep into the flesh, you feel like this dong of metal in there. And Beragond, you're next.
Beragond is on his hands and knees, vomiting into the floor. But fortunately, that being his retching and everything like that has helped him to avoid the look of the eye coming. So he hasn't noticed the eye, but he's just vomiting and unable to do anything. Next.
Excellent. Syrian.
Yeah. Okay. So after this feeling in his mind of the eye, or maybe it didn't even manifest that fully because he just seemed so calm at the time, maybe due to the trauma that he suffered before. he makes another lunge at the Warg King, this time almost jumping towards him with the lance in his hand, almost trying to skewer him as if he was some pitiful wild boar. However, I'm assuming that he falls short because he got a 9.
Yeah, not quite. So you leave him in the air, and but the warg is still amazingly quick, considering that it seems to be dead. It like sees the blow coming at the last second and moves out of the way, and you like graze some of the fur, but no, you don't pierce the skin. I'll have everyone make a dex save again, please.
Shall I make that a disadvantage or anything like that, or just straight?
It's just for your turn, but I like the idea that you're puking, and so yeah, let's have a disadvantage.
Yeah, me too.
I passed this time.
It was 14, right? I got a 16.
Excellent. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
So I get 10.
Okay. So then, if you roll below 14, you'll get 7 piercing, slashing, bludgeoning, whatever you like, damage. As the dead harry you from all sides. We're back to the top, and it's Nara's turn.
So as this fiery eye invades my senses momentarily, it causes the fires within my belly to roar up as I roar out in defiance and begin to attack recklessly, chopping down at this troll, trying to bring it down in defiance. I hit with a 26 and a 21.
Okay, nice.
So that means you're probably aware every attack against me now will have advantage when I'm attacking recklessly. So that's 13 for the first hit. That's better. 10, 18 for the second hit.
Okay, the troll still stands somehow as you like batter it with the mattock. And it is going to respond to your attacks. Trying to smush you into the ground. It's got advantage now.
The Wild King should be going first, but just so you haven't forgot him.
Oh, yeah, no. Yep, I did forget him. That's important.
And environmental attack as well, or whatever it is.
Lair action. Yeah, good. I mean, you guys should run this game because I haven't got a clue. Yeah, so the dead begin to rush all around, and like there's like this. They begin to like speak this like weird whispering. Join us. You'll never leave. So I'll need you all to make a wisdom save, please.
Good grief, my saves have been on point. You've been making me make like 5 a turn. That's 19.
18.
That's also an 18 from me.
Yeah.
Tyrion. Oh no.
That toughened mind was just short-lived.
Yeah, Sirion's been through a lot. He's seen a lot of darkness, and so when he hears those whispers, he begins to like think, maybe I will never leave. Maybe this is the end. You are paralyzed.
Jesus.
Oof.
You can make that save again at the start of your turn.
Okay.
So you just stand there, like unsure of what to do. You're holding the spear in your hand, and they can see that you're shaking, but you just don't know what to do, and you cannot move. So the Warg King then is going to roll dice to see if that's. Oh, actually, no, it's definitely going to be Farah. He just took a big chunk out of him. So he's going to turn to you, Farah. He's going to try and bite you.
Come on, foul beast.
The 17.
Will hit. That just hits my armor class. Yeah. Wait, hang on. Let me just double check. Pretty sure it's 17. No, my armor class is 18 now.
Okay. So he misses the bite. He tries to do that, but then he takes his huge claw and swipes it down towards you. With a 26, which will definitely.
Yeah.
So that will be 15 slashing damage from the claw. So it like smashes into you. And I'll need a strength save to see you fall down.
That is a natural 20 on the save.
Okay, excellent.
And I'm going to strike back in revenge.
Nice.
Faroth takes the impact, whirls about, pushes himself off the statue maybe. I'm not kidding. I just rolled another 20. I'm not kidding. Excellent. I know it sounds like I'm cheating. I'm not. That is 28 points of damage as he whirls about with the flame in the north, striking back at the wolf's foul face.
Nice.
Are you using any brutally crit shots? Or
yes, I am, but I've encountered difficulty. I recently formatted my computer and I don't have that crit shot that we used for this game. So I don't know if I should just use the Doom book or if I think I'll just use the Doom book because it's the easiest thing right now. Throw me a D20, Rob.
Will do. That is a 4.
Oh, that's bad. It's definitely bad. Sorry, just let me open up my Doom book.
No worries. I'll just continue describing how awesome the attack was whilst you find it. So the blade slowly goes through his jaw and up into his... No, I'm just kidding. I just want to say, whilst it is my turn, I'm loving that Nar is just fighting the troll on his own.
Oh, yeah, all of us versus the boss, and now versus the other boss.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I feel rude to go into the fight. A 4, yes.
Okay, so the sword like comes up into the air and like hacks into like the various tendons and muscles that connect like the back right leg to the body. You like hack deeply into there. It's a limp. The creature its speed is reduced by 5 feet, and they have to make a DC 10 dex saving throw after even the dash action or fall down.
And Farrell says, "Let's see you run now, wolf."
Okay, so that was actually the Ward King's turn. That was you having revenge. Okay, yeah. So then the troll is going to try and pulverize Nar with advantage. So the first one is a 24. The second one is a natural 20. But you're in luck. We're not using the horrible doom chart today, so hopefully it won't be too bad.
Movement speed reduced, though. He's going to be stationary.
So it's going to be 19 damage for the first hit, and oh boy. $40 damage for the crit.
Ouch.
40?
Yeah. 4 d10s plus 10. So that is that, and then a d20 for your critical wound is a 9. Let's find out what that is. Oh, broken ribs. That makes a lot of sense. So, it's the worst one. You have to make a DC 10 con save at the start of your turn, otherwise you can't act.
Well, at least it's con.
Yeah, you should be fine most of the time. So now that that's out of the way, it picks up like one of these dead creatures and it like swings it at you, and it like smashes to pieces as it does so. It like hits you with the first hit, but then it just takes its meaty fist and like drives it down towards you, and like with a sort of a hook into your chainmail, just like crunch. There's like a loud crunch as some of your ribs are broken, and you like take a deep breath as you're flung across the battlefield, and it just stares at you stupidly. Cynaric.
Probably from my vantage of above the tide of dead generally, I'm like seeing Nar fly through the air. Do I see him get back up again? Are you still okay? Like it?
Yeah. I'm just like 2 points shy of being half.
God damn it, Dennis!
Really? That last turn probably would have killed anyone else.
No, he takes half on every hit, doesn't he? Because he takes half of everything he's getting.
So I probably, there's like a pause, a moment where I see this dwarf soar over the dead and crash into the wave of dead, and I hold my breath, and then I see him just get up and shake it off. So I turn to turn to my current quarry, who burns, by the way.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And then I will begin striking. 1 miss, 1 hit again.
Okay.
Unless he has AC 11, which I doubt. And I again have 13 damage because I can't roll above a 4 on a D8.
Tell me how you bring the wolf down.
Seriously? Okay. Yeah, so I watch and wait to see that Nara's okay, and then with a sigh of relief, turn back to my enemy harassing Faroth at the minute. And as he's distracted, I plunge the axe into the wound that already has the flaming torch sticking out of it, driving it further and cutting it further open. Perhaps it ignites some hideous, bloated organ from inside, and the fire starts to spread from the inside out. But,
yeah, as it kind of begins to like roar and like the fire like burns and there's like stench. As it like finally falls down to the ground, all of the dead at once, just like as if puppets have been let go of their strings, just fall, clatter to the ground. As just a troll, they just fall. And there's a strange silence apart from like the flickering of the fire of the wolf and of the statue. But you do see as the wolf falls, like out of the stomach, a weapon just like thunks out, like it obviously landed in the wrong way, and it punches through the flesh. And so like sticking out of this wolf is an axe. It's sticking, it's like silvery, although covered in greenish goo. It's sitting there.
I think Cinder like looks around at once to see all like everything fall over, and is almost like pleasantly surprised. Like kind of looks at his axe. Thank God that no one was seriously hurt. And then he would go to probably dismount at that point, and just kind of stare in disbelief.
That was a fortunate blow, Rohirrim, I say. Going over to check Syrian, see if Syrian responds.
I was going to say, am I able to do another wisdom save at this point?
She's paralyzed.
Oh, yes, you actually would be fine now that the wolf is gone.
Okay. In that case, I'm looking rather bloodied, and Syrian is going to do Hands of a Healer on himself, if he can.
Yep.
Which instantly gives me 2d8 plus Wisdom mod. Okay, so that gives me 13 back. Good. And I look up at Beregond with these empty eyes, and I manage to mutter, "Does anyone else need replenishment?"
Nah, took some hits, but he's got some resilience.
Yeah, and that brief moment of silence after everything thumps and clatters to the ground, there'll be the sound of heavy wheezing, as if he can't catch his breath as he leans heavily on his mattock, just standing there, trying to catch his breath, but unable to.
Beregond drives a torch into a crack between a couple of stones or something like that, and then goes and climbs the statue, and with his water skin puts out the fire that's burning in the crown of the statue.
Okay, maybe with
tries to. Okay. One.
Oh wow. Okay, so you get up there to the fire, and you've got your water skin, and you like unplug it and begin to pour. And as you do so, like the fire begins to like grow in size, and you were like overcome with visions of like factories and this constant ringing of hammers, and like weapons being made, and just the of armies marching, and you can hear the voice in your head. Beregond, It has been long since we spoke.
I have sworn. Actually, what I mean, can I resist or not?
You can speak.
I have sworn. I have sworn allegiance to my king.
There are no kings of men, no lords of elves, only the Dark Lord. Your allegiance is to him, to me.
My allegiance is to the descendant of the heir of the line of Anarion. Numenor lives strong.
As you say that, like the water finishes pouring out, and there's like a crack in the statue, and you are flung from the statue as it there's like this weird sort of subsonic boom, and you're all knocked to the ground, and you can see like all the debris and like lots of the parts of the dead, and like windows are smashed all around. The statue like collapses to the ground.
Baragond! Faroth is rushing towards Baragond as the shockwave hits him in the chest, and he is thrown back onto the ground as Baragond is tossed aside like a ragdoll.
I spoke with him. I spoke with the eye, and I don't think I spoke wisely.
Faroth, having seen this eye, the image still painted within his mind, his memory going back to the high hall of the King in Silver, and he says, "What did you say?"
He said that there were no kings, no lords, no elf lords. All would swear allegiance to him, loyal to the heir of the house of Anarion.
And Faroth stares at Baragond with a mixture of pride, but also dread. It would have been a long time since the Dark Lord would have heard that name.
So I figure while that was going on, Cynric had leant down to inspect this axe, so it wasn't blown entirely off course. And he kind of gets, so he crouches to one side as the explosion washes over him, and he gets back up, and sort of is holding it on an outstretched hand, and just seeing if the blade will catch any light, perhaps in the fire, or if there's any light in the sky.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of it's quite a beautiful design. It's like a long handled bearded axe, and it's got like it's got like a spike on the other side of the axe, but it's like a wing sweeping upwards. It's very well made, and you can see that it's kind of silvery. The blade is silvery, and there are like sort of like floral designs moving up the length of the shaft. It's definitely high quality.
He kind of says to towards where Faroth was, picking up Baragond, I presume. Well, I think we sent your dead a message.
Indeed, I think we did. And Farrell's eyes stray to the body of the lifeless Warg, and he looks back to Cynric and says, "You know that only counts as one, right?"
One of many. Lost count.
Farrell looks around and he's wondering, this eruption of energy. Does it seem like the surroundings have changed, Lloyd, in any way? Like, is there still that sort of near unnatural darkness about us, or is
Yes,
that clear?
definitely. Nope, it's still there.
It's still there, yeah. I didn't think it was going to be that easy. So Farrell then looks back to Cynric and the rest of his friends and says, I still fear that there is more to be found here in Fornost.
We have found those who oppose you, but let us find the dead who swore to come to the aid of the House of Anarion. Let us find the ones who are led by Avelig of Ruador. I say, I mean, or you can change the name if you like, but I'm just inventing.
There's a sort of rustling, and one of the dead twitches and begins to stand upright. And it's like its head is like lolling to the side, and it says, "Free us." In the tower, the king, he holds us here.
Which king?
Yes.
That's not the answer I wanted.
I didn't mean that as a joke, by the way. Regardless, Farrell looks to the tower. Well, there are two of them, aren't there? That's the annoying thing, isn't there? And he breathes in a deep sigh, and he thinks to himself, could it be that the Witch King of Agma resides here still? And he looks to his friends and he says, I do not know if we stand much of a chance if what the stories say are true. True, we fended off against the Black Riders before, but I fear their leader will be far more potent. Still alarmed by the way that the dead person is talking to him as well, I will add.
Yes, I think Cynric, I imagine like it rose perhaps somewhere close to him, and he almost like reactionary, like cut it down, and had to stay his blade, and is now kind of just like curiously looking at it. Well, we've travelled all this way.
Lead on, Captain.
Are we able to move further? And he like looks towards Sirin and no.
I'm all right. I can manage.
No.
Just get me on my feet and point me in a direction, he says as he still lays on the ground from where the blast knocked him over.
I'll help him up, saying it was amazing to tow it with that troll, but I've done it twice.
Yeah, but I don't wager either time was with an undead one.
No, you are truly a wonder, and you must be made of the strength of the mountains themselves. I have seen sturdy men of Gondor, but you are another thing entirely. But let us follow our captain to talk with the dead, to get their allegiance, and hopefully get out of this place as soon as possible.
Without another word, Farrell begins leading the way towards those towers.
Cool. So you begin riding through the city again, towards the towers. Much just a really quick break there, guys. I really need to use the little girl's room.
No problem. Amazing. Oh my god, amazing. Just so great.
I'll be back in 2 seconds. Right, I'm back. Oops.
Welcome back.
Hello.
That was a pretty cool fight. I enjoyed it.
Good. Nothing weird on.
So, how many days is the broken ribs for?
Oh, good question. 10 days if you do nothing but rest.
Oh yeah, we all know that's gonna happen. As we're in the middle of a undead citadel getting ready to face the Witch King, yeah, I'll get a lot of rest and relaxation. So basically, until I convalesce, that timer doesn't start, right, for the 10 days?
Yeah, basically, you'll need to, like, the next time you get next time you're in civilization or whatever, you know?
Yeah, Nar could use a vacation.
Either Sun Lounger or something.
Yeah, he's earned one.
At least it's
One of
only
those,
DC 10. Not could have been 15.
Yeah, DC 10's not bad. especially considering I have a +6 to con saving throws. So
Nice.
I'd say the odds are in my favor. But it only takes, a few bad rolls, and that could really muck up a fight.
Yeah.
Right. I think we're all back. So you begin riding through the city towards these towers, and everywhere you go, you can still sort of hear that chittering, the dead moving, although they don't seem to be after you. They're just moving. You can hear them here and there. And you begin to approach these two towers, these two huge jutting towers that stick out of the city. Barrett Harn and Barrett. Oh, they're gone.
Nathan or something.
Yes,
Narathan
Nathan.
or something.
Yeah, Narthan, I think it was. So those are the two towers. You can see them like in the center of my overlay there. That's kind of what they look like. The two towers that stick up out of the city. They both have these like tattered banners hanging there, in the shape of an eye. And you can see that like the closer you get to these, the more like there's sort of similar sort of defaced statues and stuff, although they don't have like fires burning in them, but you can see like all the statues and all the beautiful stuff here has been defaced, has been like covered in iron or metal, and you can see that all around, like there has been graffiti of like the eye carved into various surfaces. Eventually you come to the point where you're between the two towers. There's one on your right and one on your left, and there's like you can see at the top there's like this sort of swirling of clouds and stuff above each one, and there is a rain falling here as well, heavy sort of rain.
Is there any visible difference between the two towers?
They actually look almost identical. Very hard to gauge just by looking at them which one's which.
Faroth turns to his companions, unsure, looking at these identical towers that reach up into the darkness. He doesn't know quite what to say, but he says, "What do your instincts tell you, my friends? Which one do we attempt first?"
Beregond puts a dagger on the floor, spins it, and as it stops spinning, points towards the one that it's pointing towards, that one.
Farrell smirks, imagining what would have happened if the dagger had landed on Beregond instead, and gives a nod. Which one did it land on? Sorry, the left or the right?
Left? I don't know.
Okay.
So the weird. Both towers have these. Yeah. They have these big metallic doors, like wood, that's been like reinforced heavily with metal, and most of the wood is like rotted away. So now you can just see like these sort of almost like portcullises that are standing in your way. They're both very large. Yeah, standing before you.
And these are in relatively good condition, sorry?
The wood is mostly, but the metal is there.
Right. Okay.
Are there windows on the towers?
Yes, there are.
Are they arrow slits or actual windows that open and get through?
So for the first couple of stories, they're arrow slits, but then when you get towards the top, they're actually windows.
Mm-hmm.
Staring at the portcullises, Faroth remembers Baragon's remark about Na and how he shares the strength of the mountains themselves. And he gives the dwarf a nod and a jerk of his head towards the portcullis and says, "Do you think you might be able to lift that, Na?"
I'll move closer, eyeing it. My breathing still labored as I wrap my hands around the, giving it a test pull or two.
Seems very solid. There's a little bit of like a rattle, like a, and that echoes through the. You're between these two towers, and there's like buildings close by, so it's kind of an echoey area. And so as you rattle on the portcullises, it echoes around.
Perhaps you could take a bit of a rest now. We could find another way in. You seem to be wheezing a little heavier than usual.
It was just a love tap from a troll. I'll growl back, and I'll give it another heave this time. Kind of giving a wince in anticipation of the pain in my side. Let's see if I can pull it off first. Oh, nope. So I go to apply all my strength to it and kind of double over in pain and stumble back from it, clutching at my side.
Faroth instantly feels guilty. He didn't actually realize up until this point that Na had been as injured as he was. So he basically just claps the dwarf on the back and says, perhaps another way. Perhaps we can use your knowledge of stone. Na, do you see any structural weaknesses at all?
I'll take a few low breaths, trying to get the spots out of my eyes as I straighten, and I'll move back closer to the building and the portcullis itself, kind of running my hands over the surface as I look around, inspecting for any potential weaknesses.
Sure, you have like a skill for this, don't you? Like a stone cutting type thing?
Yep. It doubles my proficiency bonus for checks. Let's see. So that would be, where is it? There we go. So that would be a 24.
Okay. So it's pretty sturdy, and you think you probably need some sort of key or something to get through here, like it looks locked and firmly in place. You think with enough force, you might be able to smash it down, maybe. But there's no obvious structural weaknesses or anything like that that you can see, or like secret ways in.
Do I have any idea of the feasibility of maybe if we secure some ropes that we could use the horses to dislodge it enough?
Yeah, you think it's possible. There's not a lot of room for the horses to run, but you think it's doable that you could pull the gate out, maybe?
That seems the best idea.
Yeah, so as I kind of look things over, I give a slight shake of my head as I turn back to the others and say, nothing obvious that I can see, and I would need some rest before I could give it my full effort, but perhaps we could make use of our steeds. If we secure some ropes, maybe we'll dislodge it enough to allow us to step through, or weaken it enough where I'm able to create a space large enough for us to get through. I guess at that I would look to Cineric, as he would have some more expertise as far as the capability of the steeds, I imagine.
Senator kind of stands back, like after having watched Nar assess the situation with his dwarven intelligence. Senator could kind of like cock his head and have a look himself. Well, they're no draft animals, and I don't know the brute strength of these elven steeds, but we have enough, I think. We could certainly maybe try bend a corner of it open. See us through. This metal is not as grand as I'm sure it once was. Tie ropes around some of it and pull it away. Do you think that'll work?
You have to give it a try. Were we all able to bring our steeds down here, or?
Yep, you've all got them.
Sinner kind of like scratches the side of his face a little bit and starts like looping a rope through some of the flimsier, rustier looking bits.
There's a weird feeling as you like approach the gate, Cineric, sorry. The axe you had picked up begins to like vibrate.
I imagine it's like hanging off his belt or something.
Yeah.
And he walks there, and he's probably like running the rope through his hands as he goes, and it starts to vibrate. Kind of looks down.
Yeah, it's glowing.
So I guess at this point, if it's glowing, this will be the first time Nars really noticed that, and he'll say, "Where did you get that?"
It fell out of the Warg King. I figured he didn't have much use for it anymore. Everyone was kind of distracted, so I just, thought I'd hold on
I wonder
keeping.
if that glowing is a good thing or a bad thing. He'll say warily as he starts looking around.
Honestly, I have no idea. Is it glowing blue, red, purple?
White.
White. Okay.
And it's probably like the brightest thing you've seen in a while. Like the torchlight is one thing, but this is like this real sort of shining, sort of bright, pure light.
Cineric like puts the rope around one shoulder and like pulls the axe up to look at it. I mean, he didn't give it an awful lot of thought. People were kind of moving quickly. Do any of you know any idea of a floral winged axe? Anything about that in the annals? And he kind of like taps it against the rusted gate a little bit, just testing it.
The gate explodes inwards with like this impossible force, and like the gates like fire through the bottom of the tower and smash into the other wall. There's like this boom as like the metal smashes against the stone.
figure he was like facing back to the rest of the group, and he kind of just nonchalantly knocked the hex against the gate, and it just explodes backwards. And he might almost like flinch away from it.
Nar just stares at where the gate was and back to him, to the gate and back to him. Show off.
Farrell looks to Sideric and says, clearly the mountains have a rival for their strength now.
There's an immediate sort of shrieking noise that comes over the air, and you can hear the skittering getting louder.
Oh. We wanted to speak to the dead, I say, drawing my sword.
Well, it seems we have a loud reply now, and he kind of like gets back, throws the rope onto CRO.
Shall we enter the tower?
Seems that is our path. Let's be about it.
So, Baragon enters.
So you enter into this bottom floor of the tower, and you can see that it obviously was once like like a beautiful reception area. Like it looks like this was like a place where people lived. There's like the remnants of a fountain here. Still water gurgling, though the water is kind of mucky and brown. And you can see that like there are ruined tapestries and stuff hanging on the walls, showing the glory of Arnor. Various men in sort of Arnorian garb, posed heroically with swords and whatnot, and a staircase leading up.
Rob's just frozen.
Okay. I was wondering, he was like super shocked for so long. But the dead begin to become louder, and you can like hear the sort of like of many footsteps moving in this direction from outside.
Not from inside the tower, they're coming from...
Yeah, not from inside the tower, from outside the city.
If only we had something
Let's
left.
go up the stairs.
Well, there's plenty of scrap metal if you wanted to build as a gate.
Fortunately, I don't believe we have time for that.
Shall two of us hold the stairs and the rest of us go up?
There's like furniture and stuff in here as well, like
yeah,
nothing too heavy or fancy, but you think if you could pile enough of it against the door, it might hold them for a bit.
It's doing that, I think. Close whatever doors and it's even busted.
Yep. So you begin like grabbing everything you can and like throwing it in that gap that you've made, pulling the metal back across the room and like piling it there against the ruin of the gate. And you've made a pretty decent barrier. What's the situation? Are you all going to run upstairs, or some of you going to stay here?
I don't know.
Well, is there like a choke point where like one person could stand and the enemy would have to like come one or two at a time?
So the stairs are pretty narrow. I guess you could do it on the stairs if you wanted to. But you think like the barrier you have will hold them for a minute, maybe two?
Well, I'm not as quick as I once was. If we all move as fast as we can, I'll lag behind a bit, and if they come upon us, then I will slow them down. But we should be on the move.
In that
I
case,
agree
we
with
move.
Nah. Yep.
We keep moving.
Right, so you begin to ride up the stairs as quickly as you can through another floor, similarly to kind of like a raid. This one seems to be more of a defensive area. And you can see that there's like walls in place where you have to like basically snake through this area to get to the next. And you're able to do so and continue up the stairs. The next floor has statues of various rulers, but they're all like covered in drapes and stuff like that. They're all covered in cloth and stuff, hiding who they are. Are you going to stop and look? Are you going to keep going?
Who that question's aimed at?
Baragon will slow down and stop, but then press on.
Okay.
I would also resist and keep going.
Yep. So you continue upwards, and now you can see that there are windows, and you can see, like, as you look out, a sea of dead moving through the city towards the tower. You can see them through every street, almost like water, like a river of them, moving all around. And there's a strange sort of glow about them, this greenish sort of look that you can see from when you're up on high. And you continue up another 3 floors until finally you enter the very top floor of this tower. It's got... it's kind of like there are pillars, but there's no walls. So you're out basically up on top of this tower, and you can feel the wind at you, and at the horses' manes and everything like that as you like come up to here. And there's a throne here of like melted metal, and looks like it's made from. You can see bits of like Arnorian garb and armor and stuff sticking out. And the throne is like looking from here to Illuminas, which you can actually see from up here. And sitting in the throne is a sort of white-ish figure. The cloth is like moving a little bit. It's kind of like swaying in the wind. And it stands up and it turns to look at you. It looks like a man, ancient, definitely hundreds of years old, if not older. But it's got like this white sort of armor and a white cloak behind it, and it has a sword in its right hand. Why do you come here?
Can I try to chuck one of my hand axes at it?
Sure.
Natural 20.
Okay.
So 27 to hit. Well, I guess it don't matter when it's a natural 20, right?
Yeah. So, and it hits, but then begins to pass through and out the other side of this creature. What is your damage?
Hand axe. 7, 13.
Okay. So it passes out the other side and continues over the edge of the tower. That was not wise.
I'll briefly look forlornly at my hand axe as it disappears, and then I'll respond to what he says. My attention will turn back to him, and I'll say, "If we were wise, would we be here at all?"
Perhaps you have come to swear allegiance. You would not be the first.
And you are?
I am the king. Kneel.
Nar will begin laughing.
Nar will begin making a wisdom save. In fact, all of you will.
Surely you meant a con save.
Yeah, I did 2 wisdom save.
Oh, damn.
16.
Natural 20.
Excellent.
I've accidentally turned off my dice app. Can somebody roll for me just to speed things up?
Yeah, I'll do it. 7.
8.
So then everyone except for Syrian, you feel like it's like muscles move on their own volition, and you like kneel on the ground, and it like turns its head, and it's like dark eyes to you, Syrian. I gave you a command.
The dead do not command me. I do not fear you.
I am not dead, and I am not living. I am eternal.
Whatever
But
you are, I am not kneeling.
You will kneel. Or will.
I just stand tall with my lance sort of propped out a little bit just to kind of make myself look bigger.
The dead here serve me. They serve the Dark Lord. They are mine to command, traitors, oath breakers, cowards.
How visible is he, by the way?
He's probably at like 60% opacity. You can see through him a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. In that case, I take a step forward, gingerly. So, but I say one more time to him, "I am not kneeling," and then I get out my horn and blast it in his face.
Okay.
So he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, you have a 16 on the die. Is that enough?
Yeah, he passes. Just about.
So you blow the horn, it's like, and you can see like the cloth and stuff floating behind him, begins to like flutter behind him, but he stands firm in the face of it.
I try desperately not to flinch.
What right do you have to come here and take my legions?
Does the horn do anything to my companions?
Yeah, I think it would. I think I'll let them make another wisdom save. Rob, you have come to the top of the tower, and there is a creature that was sitting in the throne. He is a man, seemingly, although he wears all white, and the white kind of cloth that he wears flows behind him. He kind of hangs in the air. Nar threw an axe at him, and it went through him. It hit him, and then went through the other side. And he has declared himself a king. He told them to kneel, and they were forced to.
We were all forced to kneel, you said?
Yeah, except for Syrian, who managed to crit that save.
Okay, I shall make a wisdom save then.
I failed again.
Okay.
I failed again.
It's
Apparently
19.
I'm getting better. I got a 10 this time.
Uh, 19. Okay, so then Faroth and Nar, you would be able to stand. Although the other two are like still like, it's not even, you don't want to be there, but your muscles have been like forced to move in that direction, and so you're kneeling and looking down.
So yeah, at the sound of the horn, I'll feel my heartbeat quicken as I surge to my feet, kind of gasping and wheezing a harsh breath. Of those kneeling, whichever one is closer, I will attempt to help them to their feet, if trying to pull them to their feet, knowing that it might be futile, but you know, the only act of defiance I can think of at the moment.
And Faroth, coming to his senses, he sort of snaps out of what has been done to them, and it's like lifting the heaviest weight he's ever lifted, but he forces himself up on one knee, the next, and then as if lifting a huge amount of weight and rock, he stands before this figure floating before him. And he growls as if this force is actually trying to stop any muscle moving whatsoever, including his the ones he uses to speak. And he says, "I will not kneel before you. We will not kneel." And he is slowly, as if pushing against this force, reaching down to the blade at his side, and he draws forth the Flame of the North, and he says, "I am Faroth, son of Fardred, from the line of Anarion, and you will listen to my words." And I am doing Royalty Revealed in an attempt to counter this effect. So that is a DC 15 wisdom save, not much against this powerful foe, but I'm basically trying to resist the power with that of my own, with my blade aloft.
Yeah, he makes the save, but I will allow the others to make the save again to try and stand.
Wicked.
I failed again.
Oh, silly.
I got a 16 that time.
Okay, not quite enough. So you're
I actually
trying.
got progressively worse. That's so disappointing.
Where is the axe at?
It went through him and over the side of the tower.
No, the one that Cineric is carrying.
It's at his side, and it's glowing brightly.
I'm gonna grab it with a growl and start my slow march towards the figure.
I have been a king for centuries. I have brought ruin to your people, Faroth, son of Fardred. You are not the first to come here and try to free my minions, and you will not be the last.
You may be a king, and I know above all that kings can fall, even you. And Faroth begins that sort of forced step forward towards this creature at Nar's side.
I offer you one last chance. Kneel. Serve me. Serve the Dark Lord. For soon you will be master of all. Your people will die. All of them.
Sorry. Go back to your Dark Lord and tell him that you failed. I'm going to rush forward.
There's like a from the sky, some sort of like power cracks and like envelops this white form, and as it like fades away and you're like blinded by the light for a second, you see like rising from it like smoke and shadow, and he like turns and he's got this like black robe and this hideous sort of facial mask with spikes, and a great long sword in his right hand. He lifts that up, and some of the energy like channels from the sky into it. You are men, and I cannot be killed by men. And we're gonna stop there today. Sorry.
I am no man. I am no man.
Sorry, guys. We'll have to pick this up next time, as we're approaching pretty late, and that's going to be a long fight.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep, so that's Fornost. Good work going there.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the people who watched. I hope you enjoyed the session, and we will pick up with a battle against the goddamn Witch King next episode. Thank you to all my wonderful players who are Dennis, Performance Check, Dan, Caius, and Jay. Thanks very much for watching, everyone.